Okay,
So,
you ready?
really. Oh, yeah.
For the flag?
So stand for allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. So I'm going to call this meeting to order at 3:08. And do we have anyone on the line? Any call-ins? No, okay. All right, so pursuant to Maryland Code Annotated Election Law Article 2-208, all meetings of the Washington County Board of Elections are live streamed and recorded. And those recordings will be posted online and archived as required by law. Live stream broadcasts and recordings may consist of video, audio, or any combination thereof. By participating in any meeting, you consent to be recorded. Okay. And we have a quorum present. And Madam Secretary will record those present. And we have two guests. Patrick Leone.
You got it.
And Kathy Prohatic. Yes, Kathy, your last name always really throws me. Kat, all right. So, Madam Secretary, will you present the draft agenda for approval?
Yes, ma'am. I move to approve the draft agenda as presented.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second on the floor to approve the draft agenda. Are there any changes, additions, corrections needed to the agenda?
Madam President, if we could add under correspondence, Maryland State Board of Elections press release dated February 6, 2026.
What was the date again? February 6th?
February 6, 2026. Yeah.
Any other additions, corrections, changes?
And I'd like to ask if we could add under maybe new business, a short discussion regarding that press release and related items.
Or were we going to cover that during correspondence?
We can discuss it during correspondence if you like.
Since it's directly.
Thought you said correspondence was just pro forma, but either one doesn't matter to me.
Okay. So do I hear, all those in favor of the agenda as amended?
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Okay. Draft minutes of the January 13, 2006 executive session.
I move to approve the draft minutes of the executive session of January 13, 2026.
Do I hear a
as
second?
presented.
Second. Have a motion and a second on the floor. Are there any additions, corrections, changes needed? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the draft minutes of January 13, 2026 regular session as presented.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the floor. Are there any additions, corrections, changes needed to the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Okay, correspondence.
Okay, so in your board packet, we have a press release from Jared Demarinis, the administrator of the Maryland State Board of Elections, addressing the possibility of the nationalization of election administration. essentially saying that the United States Constitution gives authorities to the states to administer elections, but it also does give congressional authority to make changes if necessary. The President of the United States has no constitutional or statutory authority to nationalize Maryland's elections and electoral processes. So that's for your information. Any questions or comments?
So this was a general press release to press outlets and everything. Has there been anything come out directly from the election board to the boards, to the local boards?
Not that I'm aware, although the state board sent this to us.
Correct.
And so that's why, as soon as I got it, I sent it out to my press group that I have, you know, Herald Mail and the other outlets around here. I did notice that Donna, I think you had seen some Southern Maryland paper had.
Just pick this up.
Yeah,
For
pick it up.
information.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so.
Okay,
So
anything else?
now,
Mhm.
okay. My question, or what I'd like to discuss for a moment, is actually the fourth paragraph, which starts additionally statements on the presence of federal enforcement agents in and around polling locations may cause apprehension for or anxiety for certain communities. And this is, I think, in reference to I sent you all the board members and a news article where an ally of the president has said something to the effect of, damn right, we're going to surround all polling places with ICE agents. So I have a question for the director, and I guess it's both regarding voter intimidation and security as well. And, what plans have we made to ensure that there is no voter intimidations at our poll in Washington County? And then I'm going to bring the same question back, Brian, or a similar question to you.
So the State Board of Elections policy, and by extension, Washington County Board of Elections policy, is to not have law enforcement at polling places for that reason, for the reason of voter intimidation. And that's what we train our election judges on. There are certain things that law enforcement, like if a law enforcement officer wants to vote, they're certainly welcome to do so in uniform. They can even have their firearm with them, but they can only vote and then leave. So they're really not supposed to have law enforcement at the polling places.
Unless requested for
Correct.
a
The chief
disruption.
judges obviously have the authority to call law enforcement if they feel necessary. So that's our policy, and that's really all I'll speak on it. We have no plans to do anything about any rumors we've heard about federal law enforcement coming to polling places, because there's no reason for us to make those plans.
Okay. Then let me ask the attorney, has there been any advice given besides the comments in the press release to you from the State Board of Elections Attorney General on that, or are there any discussions starting to occur on that issue? Because it's very likely that, a truckload of federal agents could show up and surround an early voting site in Washington County. I don't dismiss it, and so I think we need to plan for it.
The shorter answer is no.
Okay.
It has not been a subject of discussion.
Now, Barry, you have or are putting together an emergency management team. So therefore, action could potentially be swifter if needed. Certainly if it is felt that some sort of an emergency management plan would need to be put into place for security purposes, then that would have to be something discussed in closed session to address security.
But I think practically, we only have control over what happens in the polling places and within that electioneering zone. if there's any action by federal law enforcement outside of that limited scope, we have no authority
Exactly.
to do anything. So
Mhm.
there's no real plan for that because we can't act. That's outside of our purview
Right.
of anything.
So we operate under the direction of the state.
If state board gives us guidance, we'll certainly pass that along.
Mhm.
But at this point, I mean, it's just rumors, news articles about people mouthing off. I mean, that's all I see.
So this is the same gentleman that 3 days before January 6th, 2021, predicted that all hell was gonna break loose. So I would put it slightly above just rumors. So I bring it up, we'll discuss it, keep discussing it, through the process of planning for election day. Thank you.
So may I, just thinking, is there an opportunity here to set up a executive session at our next monthly meeting and have a deeper discussion about security in general? Because we've done that before. We've had some issues where we've needed to think ahead of the curve a little bit. Is the state proposing any kind of that type of, it's not tabletop planning, but some sort of what ifs? Are they suggesting anything at the state level at this point?
This hasn't been discussed at all.
I mean, I guess I'll comment, I mean, in years past, anything that is happening at a polling place, if it's not a violation of law that would result in the involvement of local law enforcement, gets passed up the chain. The chief judges report those conditions, whether they are some campaign, infringing on the 100-foot radius or what have you. They're documented, they're passed up the chain of command and get guidance. Barry's in touch with everybody up his chain of command. We do have, and I say this because I'm not sure, Peter, how much you were involved in this conversation before. The state deputy election director and the assistant attorney general's office together conduct a series of conference calls with local council in the run to each election. And we have there's two scheduled prior to the primary election date, and they will schedule those as needed. So there are methods by which they push that information out on a need to know basis. And in years past, we have had them scheduled on fairly short notice so that they pass that information out to me and I pass it on to you. So there are methods by which they do get out in front of things as those things occur. In the past, my experience has been, as information is gathered about things that they expect or things that they are seeing, they do address those things. I kind of suspect that if what you're concerned about occurs, there's not going to be anything practically to be done in the moment at the local level. That's going to be hashed out in the court system after the fact. I don't know if that's helpful or not, but I think if
It's probably a statement of fact versus.
it is a statement of fact, right? So I mean, you are the, and I mean this in a generous and loving way, but you are the local board of elections, and I think if there is some involvement of the type that's concerned, again, if you've got federal law enforcement officers, you're going to assert their jurisdiction, whatever that may be. If they interfere with the process, I presume it's going to be documented like anything else would happen that happens in and around a polling place. And again, the courts, if it doesn't occur until election day, the election is, that die is cast at that point.
I just presume that if we were sitting here as the Board of Elections in Fulton County, Georgia, we'd be having a different conversation.
But I think no matter where we are, we have very limited authority to do anything. I mean, we don't have the authority to restrict federal law enforcement outside of not allowing them to come into the polling place. Like, we have very limited authority to do that. So I mean, there's just not a lot to be done. And I think that our jurisdiction is very limited, and we already do have all of those precautions in place, as Barry said, with law enforcement not coming into the polling place except for the purpose of voting and things like that. And so,
Is that posted anywhere?
Like what the policy is.
Yeah, is that like posted at each of our polling places? I was thinking it's on that board that we have all the different important documents.
The
Right.
totem
With-
pole
yeah,
or
with
the
15.
postings on the
All of
wall?
the above.
Yeah. I don't know that it specifically says anything about law enforcement. It does mention things like no,
Firearms and
things like
those, yeah, the
Yeah.
cell phones. So,
I think that the analysis of that too is really fact dependent. At what
Yeah.
point does keeping the peace turn into, voter intimidation and voter suppression and all of that? And I certainly don't purport to be an expert, but I mean, us having law enforcement in the background to make sure that the peace is kept, not out front, not indicating that someone's gatekeeping and all that kind of stuff, as a, so someone on site ready to be called in a moment's notice, based on the local chain of command, is different than kind of.
there is a statement that came out from State Board of Elections that basically says exactly that. There was something
yes.
I read, and it was basically, it is fact specific, like, there's a drug deal going on outside and people are fighting. I want to say we had that at, I think it was one of my polling places.
Downtown.
Yes.
Mhm.
And law enforcement were called because people weren't coming in to vote because they were fighting outside.
Right.
Like,
Mhm.
so I guess what I think I'm hearing to try to speak to Peter's concern is we have a process in place,
if there's a disruption, yeah.
and this would be defined as a disruption. And I assume during training of judges,
Mhm.
this conversation, they know when we go through trainings to call, and they have a list
Yes.
of who
And do
to
they call you first or the police first?
They call the police. If there's
Police.
a police
Yeah.
situation,
We call
they'll call the
police
police.
first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chapter 3 of the election judge manual talks all about security.
Okay.
And so we cover that in training.
And do local, I know this isn't interesting, but do local police have precedent over federal agents?
Yeah.
In a county office building that is owned by not owned, but are we under the authority of the state, right? Is this building, it's county owned?
It's county owned, yeah.
But you know where I'm going. I'm trying to figure out who has the final authority in this property or our polling sites.
Well, that'd be a question for council.
I don't know.
Jimmy, I mean, it's a county building,
Right,
This
belongs-
one is,
belongs to the county.
but
and
the
not all of
other,
them are.
It's practically in the charge of state officers. But I'm not sure that's answering the ultimate question, which you want answered, which is who gets to say who comes and goes.
Exactly.
It's a public building. And so, assuming that the public is, I mean, again, we're seeing this play out everywhere. So
Yeah, absolutely.
it's totally fact dependent. If somebody shows up in a county building and they are not breaching the peace and they are otherwise conducting themselves in accordance with the law, like we saw some time ago, people showing up in local offices with cameras and surprising people with gotcha things and all that. I mean, again, if they're comporting themselves with the law, that's one thing. If they're, if there's a county policy or a state policy, I know, that includes videotaping employees in private areas of the building, but typically those have been in the back. Again, I think all good questions to ask,
Mhm.
but I suspect that you're not going to know what the circumstance is unless and until it arises that requires a response, and that response is going to be so fact specific. And again, my experience has been the chief judges, if they see anything they don't have any idea what to do about it.
They're
Gonna call Barry, because Barry does nothing on election day but answer phone calls.
Right.
Half of them are from me, asking questions, but, you know, I think there's gonna be there's a direct line from the chief judges to Barry to the state administrator.
So we have a
Period.
rapid response process in place.
You have a rapid information sharing
Oh,
process.
information
The
sharing.
response, I don't know, because again, the response that may be most appropriate is to do nothing, because there's nothing to be done. That, and again, you're balancing keeping the peace with having some sort of, you know, turf battle. We just pray that it doesn't happen.
And I don't mean to be dismissive, of this. We are paying attention and we are concerned. It's just that, you know, what's the country song? I got a million problems and you're not one of them or something like that. I don't know, but
Well, I can
got
think of
enough to-
another one, but I can't say it in open session.
we have enough to worry about, as you'll hear in my director's report in a minute, but, where this one hasn't gotten to the top of the list yet. You know, we're just paying attention. We're monitoring it. You know, other than that, whatever security plans we have in place is what's gonna, you know, fall in place for now.
So just one final kind of comment is there's really kind of two parallel discussions, voter intimidation and security, which I think is what Brian was addressing, doing a very good job of that. Voter intimidation can exist without even any physical altercation. You know, just the concept of it, of being intimidated, is enough. And so that's why I'm bringing it up, you know, now in February, so that we can make sure the electorate knows that, or, you know, the local board is going to be proactive. And I presume conversation is going on across 24 jurisdictions in Maryland and at the state level, but that the local board will be proactive to ensure that there will not be voter intimidation. Because as Brian said, you know, a lot of the security issues and so forth you're reactory to that. So you handle it in the courts or something after the fact. Once voter intimidation occurs, you can't undo it. It's happened and they don't vote. And that's why I'm bringing it up. So appreciate the comments. I don't know if anybody else did, but I appreciate the comments and I look forward to the, you know, future information. Thank you.
Okay, election director report.
All right, well, under personnel, Sarah Deal, started last Wednesday, February 4th, as our new outreach coordinator. So everybody welcome Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
And you got to meet Craig earlier. Well, I'll try to get the other Sarah. We call her Susan now because we have too many Sarahs in the office. So, but we'll have her come in. Under election judges. So last state board meeting, they adopted a policy that the election director must provide a parity report and a vacancy report to the local board beginning in February. Well, problem with that is we don't have that ready yet. So we haven't gotten to a point where we have assigned election judges yet to their precinct polling places. So I'm giving you the best I've got, which is we need 640 total election judges. So far, 464 have completed the application process. Of those 464, 198 are Democrats, 218 are Republicans, 40 are unaffiliated, and 8 are of other parties.
Is that 640 like we cannot operate with that much,
Oh,
or is that our idea?
That's our idea.
What did we have last election?
We were about undershort.
Yeah, I think we were 620-ish or something. We weren't too short.
Oh,
We were short, I think, during the primary. We were
Right.
pretty short.
that
then.
was okay.
But in the general, we were pretty close.
And when do we usually do those assignments for the polling places and such? That's pretty close to election, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, but we usually have our numbers much earlier
Yeah.
than that.
Yes. So for instance, required by law to, present our election judges to you at the next board meeting, because it's due in end of March. I can't remember the exact date, but you all have to have approved our list of election judges. So I'm gonna do it at the next board meeting.
And
so
then if we have to, we amend any additions made after the fact.
it's a fluid list.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, the list you approve in March isn't gonna be the same list in June. So, but, we will have everybody assigned that we have, by the next meeting, and I'll be able to give you a better report other than what I've just given you. Yeah, we told Jared that, I mean, February was too soon to do that, but the board, state board had already adopted it, so.
Well, you know, it's not a bad idea
And I think this
because
list
it
is good.
sneaks up on you.
Yeah, and I think this is very helpful, just what we have here. I mean,
Mhm.
I wouldn't recognize names at this point anyway, so.
Right.
Well, and impressive, I think, that you have that many
Yeah.
so far
Yes.
that
Yeah.
are thinking
think
that
so.
far ahead. People don't like to commit too far in advance.
Yeah. And I have the list of the folks who have not yet applied. And some of them are, you know, people we know very
Regulars.
well. They're veterans. And
Do
so
we do anything to reach out to those that,
I'm going to personally call them.
okay,
Because, I'm sure that, I mean, I'd be surprised if they were to say, no, I just don't want to do it anymore. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it may have something else to do with either they hadn't noticed their emails, or maybe they see the new system that we're using to get signed in and they're having trouble with it. So we just want to find out what's going on. But yeah, I'm going to personally call, each of them.
roughly how long is that list?
Well, it'd be 196, it looks like.
Oh, there's that many that like regularly come that haven't applied? Okay.
Well, I don't know that it's 196 that are regulars.
Oh, okay.
Like
But that's what I
longtime
meant,
election
like ones
judges,
that you know.
but yeah. And we do also have a backlog of people who have expressed interest in being election judges, that we're now getting that application process to, for them to go ahead and apply.
Okay.
So I think overall, I think we're in pretty good shape when it comes to the overall numbers. So, but in the March, meeting, I'll have a better report for you as far as the parity goes per polling place and per position. So you'll be able to see all that.
And do you have dates for training yet?
We do, and I apologize. I meant to email that. So I'm going to do that right after this meeting.
Perfect, thank you.
BJ training dates. Okay, any questions about personnel before I move on to meetings? We did have a SBE LBE collaboration meeting on January 15th. Some of the highlights from that. SBE has created a 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence I Voted sticker. And so, I did order some. Of course, we already are going to have our own I Voted stickers. So I ordered about 25,000, to hand out. Voters can help themselves too when they vote. We haven't seen what it looks like yet, but it sounds pretty neat. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. SBE also created a new voter registration application design. They shipped ours to us, and we got them last week, and we immediately noticed that there were a lot of printing errors on the VRAs. And so we contacted the state, and as it turned out, everybody else's looked like that too around the state. And so the state is now, apparently it was a printer error, so they're gonna have new ones printed again and sent back out to us ASAP. They let us know that the National Federation of the Blind settlement period is complete. However, they're gonna keep all of the guidelines in place that met the NFB settlement. For instance, 10 voters have to use the ballot marking device by 1 o'clock. They're still gonna have the, if there's a long line at the ballot marking device, you can get a piece of paper that says, I'll come back later, kind of a thing. So all of the things that we were doing at the time. Also, there was a National Federation of the Blind video that we show our election judges during training. We'll continue to do that because it's very helpful. It's a very good video. So we're going to continue to do that. And here in Washington County, we have no problem getting 10 people to use a ballot marking device by 1 o'clock.
Yeah, they'll wait in line to use
Yes.
it.
They like them.
So for our part, we'd like to see more ballot marking devices. We already deploy the maximum allowed by the state as it
I
is.
was gonna ask.
Right. I'm trying to remember,
How many is that?
We can do up to 3 at an election day polling place. We can do up to 6 at an early voting site. And, I don't remember if it was the primary or the general, but here at our site here, we got permission from the state to add 6 more. So we actually had 12 ballot marking devices going here at this place. I don't think we didn't do
And that
12.
was the general.
Yeah, we didn't do 12 in Boonesboro, really. Yeah, so we kept it at 6.
Because almost all of the poll judges asked
Ask
for more.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. And the new voting system we'll have in 2028, you know, that might be the way we do it. It may all, we don't know yet, but it may be all being, you know, we don't know. Speaking of which, that's up next. Poll book project is underway. And at the time, in January 15th, they let us know that the new voting system was going to be awarded, the proposals would be awarded within a week. As it turns out, yes, it was awarded. They haven't told us anything about it yet because there's now a protest period that's going on. I think it's a 2-week protest period. Once that happens, and there's no protest, I think they'll announce. And then, of course, they got to go before the Board of Public Works for approval. So we don't know what that voting system is right now.
Now that approval, is that budgetary or?
I think it's more than just budgetary. Yeah.
I mean, because they had budgeted for it already, so they were looking to.
Yeah. And speaking of budgets, more on that when we get to the budgets and unfinished business. So the voter registration and election administration modernization, they call it BREAM. That RFP is now underway. Now we're going to be implementing the new voter registration system in 2030. So there's plenty of time for that. But they have put the RFP out in anticipation of that. They also let us know that municipal elections need to be closed in MD voters. Oh, I didn't spell MD voters right.
I wondered.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what that word was.
Right. Within 30 days, which is a problem because we have several municipalities that don't make that 30-day window. And apparently that's going to be an audit on my annual review by Jared Demarinis.
And
So-
I have 5 municipals in May
Right. So yeah, we got a lot of municipals
within
coming
a
up.
2-week period.
So I guess what we're gonna have to do is just, you know, camp out at the municipalities. If they're not sending it in, we're gonna be staying there until they hand it to us or something. I don't know.
So that doesn't come through us. We're waiting. That's not a delay on our end. That's a delay
Correct.
from the
We
municipality.
have to wait for them to provide the information to us.
Do
and then
we
can
have
propose it.
any
Leverage?
yeah.
I give them a deadline of a week. When their election's over, I want everything back in a week.
But
I've
like,
already
do we
told them.
have any way to incentivize them to do that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I've had some municipalities, they lose their vax. And
Yeah.
I never even get them back. So it's, yeah.
What is the current position of the State Board of Elections on the state running, meaning local boards running municipal elections? It was on again, off again. I don't know
Right.
where it stands.
Yeah, they actually, just recently, submitted a statement on that.
I thought I read something.
We're basically now, I think they told us we're only required to provide vax, right?
The vax and the precinct register.
But we're not even required to do that. We do that, but we're not required to do it. Only the vax is what's required. So, yeah, I think they've kind of, I don't know why, but I think they're having the local boards really kind of step back, a little bit from what we had.
So it's
Then-
not being encouraged.
No.
No.
So then why would they
Be part of our.
put
audit.
this on us?
Well, whatever they turn back, there are documents that we have to get back from the municipality. So,
I get their vax in and then I have their signature and I have to give them voting credit
right.
and also scan every one of those vax into the voter record.
So according to SBE, if we're not doing it within 30 days, it's our fault, right? So.
Within 30 days of the election, not within 30 days of us receiving it from the municipality.
Oh, no, 30 days of the election.
As soon as I get them back, I scan them in and I've had some that have been 90 days, more than 90
Oh,
days.
that doesn't surprise
And
me
that
at
doesn't
all.
mean that I haven't called them and tried to get them back. So I have called all of them and told them there was a new deadline of 1 week from their election date. And I would need those facts back immediately.
Yeah.
It's non-negotiable.
So again, I mean, the only thought I can think of is if we haven't gotten the vax back within like 3 weeks, you know, we have to.
No, I'm from a week, I'm gonna be.
I understand. So, but I'm saying, if it's been 3 weeks and we don't have them, then we have to go down there.
Is
I'm
it a
doing
staffing
5 municipals.
issue, or do they have to have that in front of their legislative body for approval?
Well, I don't know how the municipalities, how they handle that.
I mean,
Sometimes the town clerk does their elections, and then sometimes they have a special board.
Right,
And then that someone, if it's the special board, that's where it seems to be a disconnect.
They're not certifying the results in time.
right.
Correct.
In other words, you need your vax back, but you also need the certified results of the election.
Or coordinating with their town clerk's office. With
Let me know if I
communication.
can help, because if the towns have
Okay.
town attorneys, the town attorneys are usually involved in the municipal
Okay.
elections.
There's one. Isn't there
One that
one?
has,
Isn't there one attorney for almost every municipality? in
Well, we know
Washington
one.
County?
I'll be sitting in the room.
Well, besides you.
there's two other ones principally, but
Okay.
I mean, I don't know, I don't keep track of it, so.
Okay.
But it may be, some communication would help, so
Okay.
I'm glad to do it.
Thank you.
Okay, awesome.
On a kind of tangential to that, does the Washington County staff have any role, not role, any, you provide any services, other than the paperwork? Do you do any oversight? Do you do any election monitoring? Any answering questions?
Right. We
For the
don't,
municipalities?
we have offered that in the past. Like there was a time when Hancock was in trouble. They'd lost their complete election board. And, so we offered to go out and give them some training, you know, on how to conduct an election, and they didn't take us up on it. So,
Okay.
but it looked like it worked out. So,
We do offer provisional training, so there's a new town clerk, Jesse Powers in Boonesborough, so he asked for the provisional training, so we're gonna do that for them.
mhm,
But usually it's just 1 or 2 persons that may come for the training.
right.
What is like an average number or a high and low of the participants that actually vote in the municipal
So like the
election?
return backs, I can get anywhere from 50 to 1,000. It just depends on what the size of the municipality is.
I remember Clear Spring, I think it was like 50.
Sometimes for
Yeah.
Clear Spring, I get 30. It just
Yeah.
depends, yeah.
Mhm.
I would imagine Hancock's not much.
Because Clear Spring's the only municipality that has an election every year, every November. Some of the other ones are every other year. Or most of the other ones are every other year.
Yeah.
And I guess for those watching at home, to clarify, the city of Hagerstown, actually, we do actually facilitate the city of Hagerstown's elections. It's the other 8 municipalities that we're talking about at the moment.
Mhm.
Yeah, and they've even tightened up who we can do them for, because
Well, that was.
they were
that was the
grandfathered in,
question.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so they don't even want us,
right. Yeah, they passed a law right after Hagerstown got on the ballot to make it harder for municipalities to get on the statewide ballot.
Mhm.
So,
Well, I let the town clerks know if they have any questions, feel free to call me, because I mean, I'll help them.
Yeah.
Answer any of the questions and guide them where they need to be for the things that I need, so I'm always a phone call up that I can help them.
all right, the USPS postmark issue, came up during the SBLB meeting. They just, counsel us to continue to encourage voters to mail their ballots in early or use ballot drop boxes if they're going to vote by mail, just to, you know, skirt that issue of the postmark
Not being
not
read-
being on the
Yeah.
envelope when it comes in after election day. That's what we're trying to avoid.
Or voters can have their ballots hand canceled if they go into the post office and request it,
right,
which is,
It still doesn't mean the post office is gonna get it here on time.
but at least if it's got a
it's
date on it.
dated
Yeah.
correctly.
Well, it could still be weeks after we finish canvassing and it could still show up
That
the
has
way they're
happened.
going right now.
that's beyond their control.
Yeah. And then, permanent absentee removal. So, we have, obviously, folks, you know, when they, request a mail-in ballot, sometimes they'll check the box that says they want to be on the permanent absentee list. I think sometimes folks would do it not knowing they're doing it. And, so SBE now has a policy that actually, I think it's state law, that if a voter is on the permanent list and does not vote by mail in 2 straight state elections, they're automatically removed from that permanent list. Doesn't mean they can't get back on, it just means they're no longer gonna automatically receive a mail-in ballot. And so, we sent our first set of letters out, last week. So SBE created a template for us. We put it on our letterhead and sent it out. And we had in Washington County, 235 voters, who were removed from the permanent list. So they were folks who were on the list, but didn't vote in 22 or 24 by mail.
Yeah.
And, so we took them off the list. So they're
Well,
still eligible to vote. They're still registered voters. They just aren't on that permanent list.
And a lot of them put themselves on during COVID.
Right.
So it was, you know, the mindset of, I don't want to go out of my house, where now people are okay again.
Right. And the next meeting, that's why I had to give you a new set. I forgot to put February 19th as the next meeting on there. That's actually going to be an in-person meeting.
Our next meeting?
No.
The SBE LBE collaboration meeting.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and that's going to be in person in Anne Arundel County. So Teresa and I are going to go down for that. And that's it for that. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I didn't change the Mayo meeting either. Sorry. We have a Mayo meeting. We actually have an emergency Mayo meeting on
That was
Thursday.
over a year ago.
Yeah, that's right. So we have an emergency Mayo meeting, this Thursday to discuss, a regulation, that's being considered by the state board about poll watchers and challengers. So Jared has asked us for comments on those regulations. So we're meeting real quick to talk about it. And then we actually have our regular meeting next week, right? Next Tuesday. That'll be virtual. Yeah, I didn't change any of these. My goodness. I went straight from the LBE meeting down to the legislative update. We had the IGO Midwinter Conference in Albuquerque. Unfortunately, Teresa was unable to go. Her stepfather was ill, so she stayed home for that. But it was a good conference. Took a lot of notes, a lot of good ideas from other jurisdictions around the country.
You came back a little early to get the snowstorm.
I did. Came back on Friday before it snowed. And then the staff went down to Howard County, January 22nd. That was a good event, right? You went down, Corey.
Yeah.
A lot of team building as well as information sharing. And so, good time there. All right.
Now, did any of that tie into the curriculum that's being established for the local board staff,
The MEOC,
whatever it's
Program.
called? Yeah,
no, we're still.
still working that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our plan is to have our first set of classes at the annual conference in August. So we're working toward that. We're developing the courses and just all of the administrative things that need to be done to make that happen. We'll actually be meeting next week as well, that MEOC committee to discuss all of that. Okay, legislative update. So, House Bill 488 is the redistricting bill that passed the House and it is on first reading in the Senate.
And it's also in the Senate Rules Committee.
So it has been assigned?
It's in the Senate Rules.
Okay, because I didn't see that. All I saw was first reading.
I think they're waiting to assign it.
Okay.
I'll check.
Gotcha. House Bill 221 is primary elections, change of party affiliation. This one kind of has taken a back seat to the next one that's on the list. And so I predict that House Bill 221 won't go anywhere. And I'll tell you the difference between the two in a minute.
And that was the one we did at fiscal meeting.
221 was? Okay. Senate Bill 132 is cross-filed with House Bill 156. This allows for unaffiliated voters to affiliate with a political party at early voting and vote a party ballot provisionally. And so what's different between this bill and I know. What's different between this bill and House Bill
Donna and I had the
221?
same response.
Yeah.
I just got sick.
House Bill 221 would have allowed anyone to change the party and vote any party ballot they wanted to.
Provisionally?
Yes,
Oh,
provisionally.
God.
Whereas Senate Bill 132, and it is kind of, the way it's worded leaves some questions. In fact, I have a copy over here. I'll read what it says. Senate Bill 132.
And this is only if they come to early voting.
This is only early voting.
No, this was one I did the fiscal note for.
Yeah. An individual who has declined to affiliate with a political party may appear in person at an early voting center in the individual's county of residence and apply to change the voter's existing voter registration to affiliate with a political party. And then it goes on to say that they can vote that party ballot. Now, yes, declining to affiliate with a political party.
Does that mean they've taken some action to decline, or they
Well,
just failed to affiliate?
I think what Senator Kagan means is unaffiliated voters. Unaffiliated is actually a specific designation.
Yeah.
But we also have other voters. If you look at,
Yeah,
That are independent or?
Unrecognized
They're
parties.
actually other, like
we have
different small
We have
parties.
1,650 voters in Washington County who are registered to vote, but aren't either Democrat, Republican, Green Party, working class, or unaffiliated, right? So the question is, does that cover these
include
people?
them, yeah.
You know? And so based on just my specific reading of it, I would say yes. But I think she meant to say unaffiliated voters. And so there's still some question about what does that exactly mean? Now, there's a bill hearing on it tomorrow in the Senate committee, and I'm going to be going down for that. There's a lot of bills being read in the Senate committee tomorrow. And so several of us from around the state are going to go down and listen. And Mayo will have some testimony on some of those bills as well. 132 is one of them. So
And what
now-
is Mayo going to say?
He knew that was coming.
Mayo is going to say, we are not supporting or opposing. However, we're just letting the Senate know what the consequences of
list
this
of
bill,
Problems.
is going to be. And that was one of the questions was, did you mean unaffiliated or did you mean anybody who's not actually affiliated with a party? Because there's actually 4 political parties in the state. And the other one was, be aware that we are going to be significantly increasing provisional ballots. Something that was already significantly increased in the 2024 general election. That was a record number of provisionals in the state. And so, our Mayo stance on that is we should always try to work to decrease provisional ballots, and, really the best way to do that is voter education. People need to understand, okay, you're at the wrong polling place. Don't go to that polling place, go to this polling place, or whatever it might be. If you got a mail-in ballot, vote the mail-in ballot. Don't show up and vote
Because
ballot.
part of it may not count.
Yeah, exactly. And so voter education is the best way to, pare down, provisional ballots. And yet this bill is going to significantly increase it. We have 25,000 unaffiliated voters in Washington County. If 25% of them show up,
It's
Yeah.
28, isn't it?
28,000.
well, 25 that are specifically unaffiliated. Yeah, but you're right. When you add the other,
Yeah.
so, yeah. So that's going to be Mayo's position on that.
So that,
Table.
You can have- I have another picture.
It was counting the
Yeah. So I think Senator Kagan's a little, upset with us because I think she felt like she put a good bill together and now we're,
Picking
cutting
it
it to
apart.
pieces. Yeah. So, well, I think she feels like she did. So I don't know. Maybe there was a miscommunication there. Or I don't know. But
And that's only for early voting,
yeah, it's only for early voting.
so not election day.
Correct. That's actually the other difference between that and the other House bill, because the other House bill would have been on election day as well.
Oh, my gosh.
yeah,
So, yeah.
significant labor increases.
Labor increases notwithstanding, that doesn't make any sense to me. To allow people to do something in early voting, which is just a timing thing in my mind, versus election day. I'm not advocating extra work, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying in general, it doesn't make any sense to me to allow something to
You're
happen
giving
during
some voters
early voting
a
and not allow it
different
to happen. in
privilege
election.
or a different option than
Yeah.
you're, that
And
seems like
I don't know
that
how
would be
the group
challenged.
thinks about that.
And that has always been, one of the arguments against that. Now, Mayo, we don't take a position on that, but other advocacy groups would whenever because this bill it's been several years now, this bill has been read. And, in some form or fashion. And so whenever advocacy groups, oppose it, that's
They'll
usually what
come
they
out
say.
in force.
Yeah, it's not fair to other voters, So in the end, if unaffiliated want to vote a party ballot, voter registration is open until
Yeah.
21 days before election day. They can always change their party. They can go on the website, takes seconds.
Yeah.
If you want to pick a party, then you'll be able to show up and
Mhm.
not even vote provisional. You can vote a regular ballot,
Mhm.
and then change your
And
party
then
back.
turn around and,
So,
The safer way to do it anyway, the provisionals are so complicated.
the other one we were looking at last month was the petitions and ballot questions, the plain language bill. That actually passed the Senate and it's on first reading in the House. So that seems to be moving forward. Also, voting by elderly voters and voters with disabilities. I apologize. I didn't put the status on that. So I'm not exactly sure where that is. I feel like it is moving along because I wouldn't have left it on there if it wasn't. So,
What's
Are you
that
sure?
tend to accomplish?
they want us to create specific lines for elderly and disabled voters, so that they don't have to wait as long. Now, all of the LBEs, we all pretty much have the same, policy on that and the same procedure for helping voters that want help. And that is, we usually bring them up to the front of the line, but then we have them wait.
Yeah.
And we have a placeholder in line that, so they're still in line, but when their turn comes, then they can go. But at least they can have a seat, and wait instead of standing in line and waiting. And
It's like Disney World's disability access pass.
right. And that's the other thing too, that, we have to be conscious about is, we can't assume somebody needs help.
Yeah.
You know,
They need to
They have to
request
ask.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what you do. So what is this bill? Is it trying, just taking that, and making it, codifying it?
well, no, it actually is taking it further. It's saying we got to create a separate line.
And separate.
And I don't know how we would implement that, to be honest, because I guess,
Shows the space.
yeah,
Some of
we'd
the
have
polling
to
places.
designate a specific poll book or something. I don't know, but, so we'll see how that goes.
And some of our places are very small, so it's very hard to make a separate line for,
Well, and how do you move 80% of the voters to the front of the line? Yeah.
And
That's
some
a
of
good
them,
point.
yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Another one that's interesting that we caught here is Senate Bill 100 and House Bill 263. That is requiring early voting centers that are within a half a mile of a bus line to actually, let me say that backwards. Requiring bus lines that are within a half a mile of an early voting center to then have a stop at the front of the early voting center. And so we've discussed this many times with our county commuter. The county commuter has always told us that is impossible to do because they have to get federal approval if they make changes to their bus routes. And so, I mean, they can make a law if they want, but I just don't know if they can even implement it. So, and really the only one that it would really affect, I think, is here.
Yeah.
I mean, the bus does stop outside our entrance. It would just be a matter of them coming up to the front door as opposed to stopping out at the entrance.
Do they typically go on to private property or government
They
property?
go through Long Winter Shopping Center, they go
Okay.
through South End.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Okay.
So
They can,
the
but you have to have federal approval, which takes 3 years to
Right.
get.
now at the library, they already stop at the corner. So I don't think you can do much better than that, so it stops right there at the front entrance of the library.
I mean, maybe a question for your Mayo group or whoever's reviewing this is, I mean, our bus line is funded primarily through federal funds, which is why there's strings attached. Maybe there are bus lines in cities that are not, that you're just state funded or, city funded,
Mhm.
that can do whatever they want. So maybe they're not thinking about
The difference in the
Yeah.
funding, and it just needs to be better defined.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you say that because the way the bill is worded, it actually singles out state and county, bus lanes. So let's see what it says.
Washington County commuter, that name is a misnomer.
Right.
It's not a county. I mean, it's managed by the county, but it's not funded primarily by the county. Some, but not all.
Yeah, it says, this subsection applies only with respect to a fixed local bus route funded by a county or municipal corporation and operated by the county or municipal corporation or a contractor for the county or municipal corporation. So it says funded by, so I see
Not
what you're saying.
exclusively funded
Yeah,
by.
exactly.
You know, you need to add the word completely.
Yeah.
So we'll see where that goes. I have not yet contacted
Yes.
the county commuter about that yet, but I probably will just to see what their take is
Okay.
on that, yeah.
Mhm.
So, that was pretty much most of the bills that we're really paying attention to. I'm sure I'll have more information for you after, this hearing tomorrow. Most of those bills were proposed by Senator Kagan, so. All right, voter registration activities, you have the, ER 13 report from January in your packet,
Tell me what WCP.
working class part. And, candidate filings, of course, we are 2 weeks away from the close of candidate filing. So far, we have 35 filings. We had 37, two, withdrew. 11 for county commissioner. We have 1 clerk of the circuit court so far, 1 register of wills, 8 for Democratic Central Committee, 4 for Republican Central Committee, 2 for sheriff, 1 for treasurer, 2 for state's attorney, 4 so far for Board of Education, and 1 for the judge of the Orphans Court. We actually, just had him come in at 2 o'clock today to file. Corey, remind me, how many Board of Ed seats are up? Is it 3? Yeah, it is 3.
It's 3 in the gubernatorials.
So we're gonna
We
need 7,
to kick it into the
candidates
primary.
in order to be a primary.
And that's the same for Board of Education, right?
That's what I meant.
Just
Board of
said
Ed.
Board Ed.
Judge of Orphans Court is also 3, right?
There are 3 judge of Orphans Court, that's correct. But Board of Ed is the only one that if we don't have enough candidates, it won't be in the primary election. Everything else will still be in the primary, whether they have enough candidates or not. So,
Are there any age requirements, either state requirements or local county for any of these seats?
there
I mean,
are,
other than being a registered voter of 18.
right. I don't know off the top of my head. I believe county commissioner has a certain age, don't they? Isn't it?
I mean, they all have their own
Right.
stipulations.
I believe county commissioner is something older than 18, I believe. I can't remember. Yeah, I was thinking 25 too. It's just, that's in my head for some reason. Other than that, I don't know. I don't have it off the top of my head.
But you have it here somewhere because.
We do.
You have
Well,
to
they
check
grab
it,
a packet.
right?
Right.
If you could just,
Yeah.
after the meeting,
Sure.
thank you.
Oh, I did want to mention something about the candidacy filings. We have several candidates who have not filed their 2025 financial disclosures, or if they have, they haven't given us their receipt that they did. So we have been regularly corresponding with them to let them know we need to get that in by February 24th, by the deadline at 9 o'clock.
How many did you say?
9.
9? Wow.
So on
Wow.
this, on the state board of website, it does not list an age for county commissioners. The only one that has only county office that has an age requirement, unless it's set by our county directly, is sheriff, and sheriff is 25.
Okay. Yeah, but yeah, local charters also set certain requirements too, so we'll have to see what
Whatever you have.
they say.
So you're saying that 9 of these
They were active
20.
and now they're provisional because they still owe us their.
6,
Disclosure,
29,
there's 35.
30, 35,
Mhm.
did not complete their financial form.
Right, or they haven't sent us their receipt if they have.
And the state has mailed them information,
Right, and
or
we
he's emailed
we
them,
email them every week.
and we've left
as a
phone
reminder.
messages.
So,
So if they don't bring it to us by the 24th at 9 o'clock, they won't bring it out.
26.
Oh, does it have to be in by the 26th, not the 24th?
Financial disclosure period until
Okay.
February 26th.
Well, there you go. There's still hope.
So it's not the close of the canvas to them.
Yeah.
Interesting.
26th, yeah.
So anyway, just bringing that up. We are doing our best to get a hold of these folks and get them to get them in, but at some point, you know, there's some responsibility.
You can
on
only,
their-
yeah, you can, you can't, yeah, it's just like you can't leave a horse,
Right.
it's just like,
Under voting system activities, last time I had reported that we were hoping to get 28 more poll books for training, earmarked specifically for training. We were able to get them. Harper County has their own little,
Stash.
yeah, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess they rebuild voting equipment. And so they had 28, that they were able to give us. Unfortunately, 15 of them did not have the CF card covers. That's that little door on the top of the poll book
Yeah,
that covers the CF cards. So 15 of them don't have that, and it makes it hard for us to use that in training because they're not getting,
Right.
What the actual, yeah.
So we are trying to find CF covers somewhere.
could we not 3D print them?
What's that?
Could we not 3D print them?
Well, it is plastic. I never thought of
I have a 3D printer. I could- I mean, we 3D print all sorts of
That's
stuff.
right.
I mean, for
Could
training
that be
purposes.
considered?
Well, I'm saying
Honestly.
for training purposes.
that. Last case scenario.
If we're not,
risk it.
I mean, I wouldn't obviously recommend using that for election day, but if it's for training
Right,
purposes
it's
to
just-
give them the same simulation.
Yeah. Well, I'll put that on the back burner, but
And if Candace doesn't have time to do that, the Michael Boyd Technical High School
Yeah.
has like 50
oh, okay.
printers. They have a
Yeah.
whole program
Mhm.
for 3D printing.
I mean,
Um,
I mean, I would think for training
If you- if
purposes,
you
I
run
think it would
out
be,
of time.
yeah, I think training purposes, for training, I think it would be fine.
Interesting.
It'd
So
probably
what,
be a lot cheaper.
so what would we do? Give them one of ours and they would take it?
yeah,
They
you
digi-
basically just,
Digitize it.
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah, you punch in the schematics into like a computer, like I have a computer
Digital.
system.
CAD.
But they probably have a
Okay.
3D scanner.
Yeah, I think they do.
Yes.
Theirs is probably much more
They would
sophisticated.
scan it and then just print it.
Interesting. All right.
That
I'm gonna
sounds like
make a
some
note of
good
that.
project.
Yeah,
Why don't you make new, pins for the Washington County, judges, election judges?
that's a lot.
Cause they
Oh.
love the pins.
640.
Yeah,
Plus us.
that's right. That's
The
right.
staff.
Well, that's what we did for Samuel's Valentine's this year, was we 3D printed little Valentine T-Rexes for all his classmates. They love those things.
Yeah.
You're not making bootleg Legos, are you?
No, we don't like, what are they called, Legos, the fake Legos? No, my kid is bougie on his Legos.
Yeah, we were in Smithsburg High doing a presentation. That's what they were doing. They were creating a Lego guy with their 3D printer. Maybe I shouldn't say that.
Okay,
Okay, so
next,
Where are we?
risk limiting.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Risk limiting audit. We started that last week. So we're basically getting trained as a staff on how to do a risk limiting audit. And so we'll be ready when it's time to do it. But so last week, the first step was to simulate an election. So we had to take, a sample of ballots from the 2024 primary, rescan them, do it just like it's election day. We had to LNA the scanners, scan them through like it's election day, and then close them out and submit the report and the results to the state. So they have them now, and they're going to create the files that we need to do the RLA. There is a contractor that actually is going to teach us on how to do this. And so the next step is, I think next week, they're going to be contacting us to schedule a date to have training. And it'll be kind of like one-on-one. It'll be virtual, but it'll be just like us, that they're training on how to do it. And so
So this isn't something we've done before?
we've
or-
never done a risk limiting audit.
Okay.
This is new. So it's similar to the manual audit that we do at the end of the general election, but there are some nuances to it that is different.
Okay.
So, and then as far as projects go, for the new website, Sarah is all over it, and,
Not Susan, but Sarah.
not Susan, Sarah, yeah. And we had a meeting with a vendor today, about getting that up and running. So we're moving forward with that. And yeah, I voter sticker contest. The latest on that is we have, the voters of Washington County have selected the winners. Not gonna announce their names yet because, I think we were gonna wait until we do the presentation, but we're gonna do the presentation in 2 weeks at 5 o'clock,
What is that date again?
the 24th. That's actually the voter register, or the candidacy filing deadline.
You said at 5 p.m.
Yeah, 5 p.m.
Okay,
And
Is that here?
yeah, it'll be in the early voting room. We'll do it.
okay.
A little presentation we can come and, okay.
Absolutely.
Refreshments.
Yep, we're gonna have refreshments. It's appropriate.
Darn.
And, I know. And we've invited the Board of Ed as well, to come if they'd like to. So,
And their families.
yep, families, and I mean, cause we're gonna have it in the big room, so, you know, I don't wanna go nuts. I don't want their whole class or anything.
Right.
But
I think you let Julie Green know, correct?
yes. So what we did was we created a nice certificate to hand to each of the kids. And we actually produced a sample of actual early or I voted stickers.
Aw,
And they'll actually have the very first I voted sticker will be on their certificate. And
That's
that they
cool.
designed.
that's cool.
So they'll have that on their certificate. And yeah, so
Well, isn't that the certificate that I just signed?
it is.
And that's the first sticker?
It's the first sticker.
Okay. Okay.
Stickers turned out nice.
Yeah, they did. They did. We had Copy Quick do them for just a small
Okay.
amount, just so we have them. We'll do a procurement soon because we're gonna eventually do 100,000 of them. So, but yeah, we're excited about that. I thought it went for our first time doing it. I thought it was very successful. We got 30-some submissions, you know. So I know Carroll County had hundreds, I think, but you know they've done it before. So, so yeah, maybe next time we do it, it'll even be better.
Well, I think it just takes longer too to get on the books of the school board to get on their curriculum. That was the issue.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, we had some teachers who were more, you know, willing to help with that than others. Because we noticed that usually if we got a lot of submissions, then it was from one specific class, you know, like they did it as a
Oh,
project
yeah.
or something, you know? So, as far as the election management software and services, it's moving along. We've got our election judge module pretty much up and running. We're working now on our election equipment module and our polling place module. I hope to have that up and running very soon.
So will that include any of the training? Because
Oh,
you're saying modules, so.
yes. So for the election judge module, they have their own portal they can go on and it'll have training aids on there. We're actually, Carl and I have been talking about doing just real quick, like 5-minute training videos. You know, how to open up a scanning unit, how to close a scanning unit, you know, things like that.
Mhm.
And we can put that on the portal. So all the documents that they need, you know, things that we have on the election judge portal that's on our website right now, that'll be moved over to the election judge portal on the EMS.
Can you do videos on all of the provisional stuff and then make sure that we all have access to the portal on election day? So if like we need to be able to like reference something that we don't
Yeah.
remember how to do, like we can step outside of the polling place and watch the video and go in and fix it.
And pretend we know what
I
we're
mean,
doing.
there are always things that come up that I'm like, well, that one I don't remember.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, they have
Quick
the
reference.
office to call too.
And it is in the manual.
And it is in the
For those of
manual.
us who read.
Yeah.
I've had the manual with me and I still.
Yeah, it's just sometimes you get something different that you don't remember. I know, and it's
Yeah.
hard. Sometimes you're flipping through the manual, like, where is that page at?
I'm just thinking the provisional stuff, particularly if this bill passes where we're going to have more provisional. Could we have reference to videos for like the main provisional issues?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to think about how we can do that. That could end up being an hour-long.
A
video or
job
something.
all over.
That's why
Oh,
there's
but
gotta
doing
be
little
some way to do
segments.
a decision tree, because I think if I remember
Yeah.
correctly, the difference was, you know, what is the scenario that gives rise to doing it this way?
Yeah.
And then that goes that way.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
true.
Yeah, we need a graphical.
That would
hierarchy
be sweet and go
Yeah.
from here, then that.
Yeah.
And these are the
Some
things that
quick
make sure that
reference.
everything's filled out here.
You gotta stay on the call.
So,
Okay,
yeah, we're gonna get
Okay.
kicked out.
okay.
Okay, oh, and then the last thing was, Elections Operations Center. I talked with, Alan Matheny from, Emergency Management, Services, it's about a couple of weeks ago. He said he's working on our elections operations plan, so just eagerly awaiting, how that turns out. He didn't
So
give
you're
me any-
planning to be in this room?
Well, that has yet to be determined. I think emergency management would like us to be at their facility, at least somebody would like, somebody at that facility. I think it would be impossible for me to be
Yeah.
there. I think I would need to
I
be
agree.
here.
Yeah.
But, we'll have to think about, can we have a representative over there? And like, where would Brian be? I think Brian would need to be either here or there, so.
So you're talking about a plan if there's a disaster, hence emergency management system.
Yeah, anything. Anything that comes up that we need to deal with immediately. Yeah.
A rapid
So,
response?
And this is, some other counties have already started to do this, like Baltimore County has an excellent, operation that they do. And so we're kind of trying to mirror off of what they do. They actually have, and they have it at their facility and the election facility in Baltimore County, but they have police there, they have fire there, they have emergency management there. The director is there, their attorney's there.
Sheriff?
Yeah,
So kind of like a little call center.
right.
And they all have walkie-talkies.
So when a chief judge calls and says, hey, ICE is here, then all of a sudden we got all of the players are right there, all the stakeholders are right there to figure out how to handle it. So,
Well, that issue notwithstanding, I would think that you're talking about election day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 2 times in the entire year.
right.
I find it hard to believe that they would not be able to come here.
But I think it has to do more with their communications.
Their point being, they've got everything there.
And they'd have
You know
to
what I mean?
move certain
Right.
things or
And
link to them.
They're like, why should we set something up somewhere else when we've already got it all here?
Because you're here.
I understand.
That's my answer.
But they would have to double their personnel. If they've got all those people there, they have to
Right.
send a whole cadre out here
For
to be a line of communication.
one day, twice a year.
But connectivity can be an issue too.
Yeah.
So there's some logistics associated with that as well. Yes, ideally,
Right. So,
but power outages that could be hours. I mean,
Yeah.
we've got enough backup
yeah.
on the machines,
And
right?
plus, and I think we could figure something out, like, for instance, we could be on Google Meet all day. We could actually have a video, conference all day, in case something comes up.
That's true,
You know.
too, yeah.
So,
We did that when we were doing, after the election, when we do our thing.
Canvassing.
Yes, canvassing, we did that.
That thing?
oh, back in 2020.
During, yes,
Yeah.
during COVID, we,
I've almost blocked that all out.
mhm.
I had to bring it back.
I'm sorry. Okay, fun times. Okay.
I think that's it for my reports. An hour later.
Oh God, I forgot that was only you.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, we're done.
Okay. No. Brian, attorney report.
No report.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
Now the budget.
Okay, so, I gave you another copy of our proposed budget, because there's one major change, that we had to make. And that is in the contracted and purchase services, the 515000. If you look at our FY 27 proposed, we are now at $2.815 million. And that is because just last week, SBE, let us know that, well, the poll books that we need to purchase for 2028, that's going to happen in FY 27. And, the new voting system that we need to purchase for 2028 is also going to happen in FY 27. And so they needed to have us alert the county that, these costs are going to be coming. So they let us know the unit cost for poll books, the unit costs for ballot marking device, unit cost per scanner. Again, we don't know if that's what we're actually gonna have, but they gave us a ballpark, figure and said, however many you think you need, go ahead and tell the county this is how much you need, right? So, so that's where we came up with that amount. So it basically added.
And I'm sorry, and you base that on the current number of pieces of equipment that are that are being.
That are in the inventory, yes and no. We base it on what we currently have, but looking at, voter registration increase,
Okay.
Things like that. Do we think we need more poll books?
Well, earlier
that
today, we talked about ballot marking devices. And I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but I think your comment was something to the effect that maybe when we get the new voting systems, they'll all be ballot marking devices.
Right.
So did you ask for all ballot marking devices?
Unfortunately, they haven't given us enough information to know that is even the case.
Okay.
And so in this case, yes, we had to go with what our current inventory of ballot marking devices, which is much higher than most counties per capita. We do have, when there was a time when the version 1 of the ballot marking devices was available for sale, we purchased, I don't remember how many, it was 70 some extra ballot marking devices. So we have a pretty good size inventory of ballot marking devices. So we went with that. There is always a possibility we'll need more if that is the case, that we end up going with all ballot marking devices. But for now, that's all we know. So that's what I had to go on.
Okay.
So we submitted this to the county last week, and we're just waiting for the steam to come out of the building. But it is what it is. We have to.
Black smoke or white smoke?
Right. We have to buy these things, and so, but yeah, that added $997,675 to the overall budget. Yeah, actually, I think this contracted purchase services line alone is more than what our total budget was. So.
Because it was 1.3 or 4.
Right. So anyway, just so you're aware, that's where that came from. And this happened quickly. The state, like I said, the state board got in touch with us last week and said, here's the numbers. You gotta let your county know.
And say, but we don't have much option.
No, we really don't.
Which is interesting. So they're anticipating purchasing this equipment before June 30th of next year.
Yes. Yes, because we need time to test them out. We need time to learn them ourselves.
For the following
Training.
primary election, which
Yeah.
is
28.
somewhere in March
And-
of
That's a
2020.
shared cost, though, right? This is only half the actual cost.
That is correct.
But
Oh,
This,
this is half.
this
state bears
997,000 is just the county's
50,
cost.
yeah.
So it's
Which is
basically
like a 50-50
1.9 million is what it really is for the equipment.
That's a lot of money.
Just for us.
Just for us,
Yeah,
I
just
know,
for the
I
county.
can't even imagine some of the bigger counties, what it costs for them.
Now there is an option to finance through the state treasury office. So, and we have let the county know that. And I do believe when we did our poll books in 2006, I believe we did finance because I have seen that in reports that I've seen from the state that we're one of the few counties that actually did finance. So.
Well, we'll see if the state has any money, so.
So that's the budget.
Okay.
So you just added, you didn't take anything out, balance it, just added to the budget.
It did because the budget we submitted was already as
Bare
low as we
bones.
could go.
That's what I thought. That's what I was asking. Okay, thanks.
Okay, new business. Discussion of board meeting minutes.
Yeah, I think I had asked to
Okay.
discuss this, so just, and I'll need some help from our counselor, but the thinking is the minutes have gotten longer and longer and more detailed as time has passed, and I know my training in parliamentary procedure is that the minutes are supposed to be basically the motion was made, the motion was seconded, the discussion very brief in the vote. We discussed this action in the vote. It's And since we're recording and archiving everything, it seems like it might make life easier for the note taker and everyone else to really minimize. I had just looked at the minutes from the last meeting and it was just pages and pages. So just a thought about whether we could simplify, and I know you had some mixed feelings about still having written minutes, which I agree with, but do you have a feeling as to how detailed or how simplistic we could make them?
Less detailed, more simplistic.
We pay you big money for that, right? Seriously,
No, I mean,
what's
I
the
think-
thinking? Yeah,
I think when we talk about this informally, we're in agreement. I think because you're archiving everything and there is an ultimate authority, which is the recording, there's less need for great detail in the minutes. It's hard to advise an author of minutes where that proper level of
that's
detail
what that
is.
line is.
In doing some of the work that I've done in the past few years, I've looked at other boards' minutes and the degree of detail varies
Yeah.
drastically. We're definitely at the more detailed end of the spectrum. So I think, where does the optimal level of detail lie? It's probably more along the lines of what you described. This is a subject, this is a motion, this is the gist of the discussion.
Very, yeah,
And again, state boards and commissions that I'm part of that don't audio or video record everything and have much more detail because it's important to know
yes.
exactly what was.
And I would agree if we didn't have this, that we need to be.
I do agree that this kind of changes the necessity of.
Can I ask a quick question, just from information? Obviously the minutes are taken, the minutes are written, there's a draft version, and then we vote on it, and it becomes the approved official version. So it's all very formal, whatever's in there. Are the audio, video recordings technically, legally part of the minutes in the sense that you can go back and say, well, this is what this minutes meant from watching the conversation? Or is it just a reference tool? Because, we vote on and approve the minutes to make it legally and formally the direction of the Board of Elections.
Well, I understand the question. I don't know that the one trumps the other of necessity, but at the end of the day, there's a record of what was actually said. That's going to carry the day.
So they're all at record.
I mean, if there's a question about how accurate the minutes might be, but no, we've never done anything like incorporate the recording by reference or anything like that. It's probably unnecessary because at the end of the day, if there's a question about what the minutes say,
You're
somebody's
gonna
going to
go back to the original.
in the state
Yeah.
the platform on which we archive those is contracted by the state, provided by the state. So it's a state record in the custody and control of the State Board of Elections. So that is your permanent record of greatest repose, I would say.
Yeah, I think this last round that we just did, the January minutes are much more condensed than like what November's was and October's. I think this one's a lot more condensed.
We narrowed it down to 6 pages.
But I
Still-
mean, you figure a very
It
direct report is, a page and a half of it.
Right.
But to Peter's comment about we vote on this, how many of us have gone back to the original video and checked the
No,
minutes?
and it's a lot easier if you make them more, because really what we're voting on is the accuracy. This is accurately what happened. We're agreeing.
Exactly. So
and
if
it's
there's,
easier to confirm
it's so
that, yeah.
easy for someone to put a different adjective in that lends a different
Well, and
intent
more,
to
more
that
short and
question.
concise is easier to confirm the accuracy for voting purposes too.
Sorry to interrupt, but, you all had asked to meet Sarah. So this is Sarah Dobbs. This is Sarah.
Hi,
She's,
Sarah.
she's on her way out, so I wanted to catch her before she headed out. So she's our new training coordinator.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So,
And that's your
Thank
name, where you're going with Susan.
yeah, Susan with an H.
Susan with an H.
Have a good evening. Have a good evening.
well.
See you with training, I guess.
Yeah,
Yes,
yes, you will.
absolutely.
All right.
Sorry.
No, we're glad you did.
I think are we all on the same page?
I think so.
How do we kind of execute this?
Yeah, for what it's worth, I 100% agree.
Yeah, and one comment I would make is anytime that there is any formal motion upcoming of consequence, in the past, it has been my advice, and I think generally going forward would still be my advice in almost every circumstance I can envision, that, those motions be written out ahead of time.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
And read into the record. And that way, the maker of the motion, and again, some of it is easily discerned from the circumstance, the director recommended this slate of election judges and it was, approved in whole. This was the vote, right? Motion made, seconded, et cetera.
That's it. Yeah,
More complicated things are going to require, being written out.
more thoughtful about it.
Yeah, and I think that's up to the member who wishes to make that motion, and sharing that, having that prepared in advance and being careful about the wording of amendments.
Yeah.
But barring those circumstances, which in my experience have been relatively few and far between, most of the gist is being caught with a lot less detail. I don't know that necessarily I have to say, in nearly verbatim what everybody's comment was about something.
Well, and for the most part, we're a supervisory board. We don't establish a lot of policy. I mean, we do vote on things, but, most of it is minimal.
Right. So my question then would be, like Candace said, the election director's report is probably the largest part of, the minutes. So would it be appropriate to just say Barry Jackson delivered his election director's report?
And attach it,
In accordance with the
Yeah.
agenda.
In
Yeah.
accordance with the agenda.
yeah, and
reference
make
the
it an
agenda.
attachment to the minutes.
Yeah.
Well, it is in the
Packet.
Packet.
which we
Yes.
also publish.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so reference back to that.
Mhm.
But those agendas, again, in terms of record keeping, all of that stuff should be kept. Everything that's meeting materials, whether it's the
Yes.
agenda, the packets,
So it ties,
submissions,
yeah.
whatever,
Mhm.
that comprises the record of the meeting along with the archived audio and the minutes.
But
And
that's
that-
why I think you don't have to reinsert all of that into the minutes because it is.
Yeah.
And those packets, like the board packet should be, including the agenda, should be preserved effectively in perpetuity, but I mean, certainly for the requisite period. Because, we go back to my example is always sort of, how do you deal with an administrative appeal litigation, which is the way this board's decisions get reviewed by the courts, particularly a decision that's a lengthy process, like the consideration of early voting sites. Well, the record of that decision, starts in this month with the first time that issue appears on the agenda, and all of the materials submitted at every meeting along the way and the gist of the discussion effectively comprise the record of that agency decision, right? Not just the final decision that you make, although that last meeting may be of greater consequence. So, that's why you want to make sure the agenda, the board packets, make it part of the record, right? And then it's there. There's no question about what the board saw, what the board considered, because it's all happening within the meeting and those materials are preserved in the packet. That's best practice.
Mhm.
You mentioned a minute ago that you did not think that making the recorded archive or the archived recording as part of the minutes by reference. But is there a downside to that, to actually just saying that one line?
Well,
We do it in
It's
that
in the-
entrance.
yeah, it's written out.
That's not the minutes. That's not what I'm talking about.
But
I'm
it's
talking
part-
about in the minutes referring to
To
something.
make it
by reference.
express incorporation by reference of the recording.
Yeah. just so if somebody comes back and says, I didn't say that. And the little box showed up on the screen that says your session is timed out and nobody noticed it for
Well,
a minute.
true.
And it didn't happen on the recording.
Yeah,
You know, you can either include it by reference or not include it or whatever. I'm just trying to think. To me, minutes are a very particular thing. You're saying it's broader than that, and that's fine, but we don't approve all this other stuff. This board approves the minutes.
I'm not saying that I'm saying other than what that is. I mean, I'm not sure what your concern is. I think there is a record of the meeting. The
Yeah,
minutes are also a record of the meeting.
Yeah.
You know, do we need a bunch of lawyer language, you know, like we put in things that say, you know, these minutes will control, except as to the extent that they're inconsistent with the actual recording of the meeting? Well, that would to me suggest that there may be inaccuracies in the minutes, which we don't want to have. If there's any
Yeah.
question about what transpired, somebody ought to be looking at the draft or the minutes, or those folks who are reviewing it should be looking at that archive footage to make sure. I don't know that we've had issues where that level of detail and inaccuracy has come up. But so, and I don't know that it's necessary, and I don't know that it changes anything, because at the end of the day, the archive recording is going to be the definitive record one way or the other. If there is a concern about discrepancy. So I don't know if I'm answering your question. I just don't know that packing it with sort of, you know, and I don't mean this in any derogatory way, gratuitous or officious statements, and this is incorporated by reference herein, which is very lawyery, right?
Mhm.
I don't know that that's necessarily going to change anything. If it makes somebody feel better that, you know, reference is made to the recording of this, and I don't know that it's a bad thing.
okay, I was just asking.
Yeah, but it depends on exactly what you would want them to say. I mean, there could be things that you could say that would.
And maybe this is a further conversation for another time offline, but, you know, I'm trying to understand if we approve the minutes, why do we approve the minutes? And if we do so, what is the purpose? What is the long-term purpose of that? So that's all I was trying to think
If
through.
the ultimate
in
question
real
is,
time.
do you need minutes in light of the fact that you're now archived? I would have to look. Steve,
Well,
Because
we have
we-
discussed
What
that
about
as
your own
well.
throat?
Ask that question.
your own bylaws say you have to keep minutes.
Minutes,
So-
yeah.
so
It's a
would it- So there's a
redundancy.
whole bunch of questions that are given rise to from that question, which is not the one I think you're asking.
That's not the question, that's not the question. But anyway, thank you.
I'm asking it now.
All right, so I gather we're in consensus that we can work on reduction
Yes.
in the amount of detail that is currently included.
Significant reduction.
So we'll send you this
Significant.
month's, minutes, and you let me know what you think.
No, that's great. Let's
Yeah,
put it out
let's
there.
let's do a draft.
and
quick.
be
If
sure
we get a
we're all
draft
on the
early, we
same
can kind of look
page.
at it and say, hey, it's a little too condensed.
I
I don't think that's gonna make the case, but
That's true.
and
Email
Sarah's
it out
going
for
to
you.
love us.
I know you're gonna review, but I'll be honest, with you, I'll say personally, sooner rather than later
Yeah.
on minutes is
Right.
better. Because
Yes,
it's in, you
Right.
know,
Right.
it's fresh in the mind. 3.5 weeks from now, it's like, okay, what did they say?
right.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, anything else? All right, so member remarks?
I would, and maybe I should have put that under new business. I'd like to have your PEP review, the date that's coming up on that, put on our minutes so that we know, or somewhere that we can keep track of that date, especially with the election happening at the same time that is due, so that we can all have that in our brain.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was thinking about putting that on the June agenda rather than the July agenda, because that kind of puts us behind the eight ball a little bit, you know, because it puts us at a deadline. So if we do it in June, you know, then that gives us a little more time to.
right,
figure it out.
and we have made that request in the past. to have plenty of notice. But I take partial ownership of this one being late because I canceled the December meeting.
Hmm.
But there's still an obligation to communicate. So, but yeah,
I think that's a great idea.
May.
yeah.
Yeah.
In May, it's only
It's not due till July.
July first.
No, like July 15th. So I think June's plenty of time.
Okay. All right, but
Even with the election or with the primary. and
Yeah, with
everything.
the primary, that was what my biggest fear
Yeah,
was. It's in the middle of all that.
Yeah, actually, we'll have early voting going on during our June meeting.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking maybe May might be our time to
So-
work on that one.
Do we even have a meeting in June?
well, that's to be determined.
Yeah,
I mean, we may need one.
Wouldn't our
depending.
meeting in June be June 9th?
yeah. No, we would, so it'd be
So
2
early
days
voting
before.
starts that Thursday.
Yeah,
I,
We'll be-
I think.
yeah.
I think we
We'll be
need
out
to,
delivering equipment.
My child will probably.
That's true, the
be here for
9th will
that
be out.
meeting, because that is a lot.
Yeah.
That early voting.
Well, we can always move it up or move
Yeah.
it back. We can adjust the date of the June meeting, but yeah, I agree with Nancy.
Don't push it back, cause I'm in Wyoming the 10th through the 13th for Paley and College Boot Camp. No, I'm not going to Paley.
yeah, I knew that.
But just that, and you're going to find the reports with the numbers that we can start looking at those again.
Yeah, right.
You mean the scoring?
Yeah, scoring
Barry,
page.
Barry should send us that.
Yeah, if you can go ahead and get that out, so we, especially with Peter being new, that way he can kind of review it and get us, he can be up to par on what he's looking for.
And will Jared do any piece on you this year for in
Yeah,
preparation?
he'll do the same, so we
That's
need
what I
to
thought.
work around that.
Yeah, that's true. That would
Because he
depend on
comes
Jared.
first and then we see his and he meets with us.
Yeah,
So we're gonna have to get
and I
that
think we
all.
were close to the deadline on that one.
Yeah,
too.
we
Real
were.
close,
I think
yeah.
we met after he was here.
Yeah. Okay.
That
All
was the
right.
only thing I was just trying to plan ahead for a little bit.
Thank you, Nancy. Good thought.
Technically, yes, the county commissioner, right?
Any other member remarks?
Well, they're all separate. We have different sheets for each one.
I also would like to request a current copy of the bylaws to all the board members so that we can start in the near future discussing, the amendment that I had, promised to the county commissioners that we would work on for establishing the center as a permanent voting site for early voting and voting,
Okay.
so that we don't have any more issues in the future. It's always the primary, period. Okay,
I'm happy to email them out, but they are available on the website. Everybody's aware of that, right?
okay, I thought I looked and I didn't see them,
It's
but
on the
I'll,
About Us.
It's under the
Okay.
About Us section.
okay, all right, well, then, that's okay.
Don't go on the phone now and look it up.
On the phone?
Yeah, on your phone. Don't look for them on your phone right at
Because
the
you won't be
moment.
able to see them.
Well, it's got the old version, which I have no idea how that happened.
Okay.
It was supposed to update. They have an
Yeah,
update
the
My
thing
phone-
request
automatically,
was
but it
current.
didn't.
I know.
I was very
Yeah.
specific.
Yeah,
No,
they're
don't-
on the computer. They are current.
Okay.
It was just on the phone. I kept telling Barry, I'm like,
Yeah,
you're wrong.
if you look it up on your phone, it shows the 2019.
The mobile version of the what?
Yeah, the
Verbal
version.
ver- And he doesn't know how it didn't update.
Because when you update the desktop version, it automatically updates the mobile version. So now I'm wondering what else hasn't been updated on the mobile.
Yeah, unfortunately, I just brought that to his attention.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so as a recap, you're gonna send us the training dates for the election
Yes.
judges. You're gonna email that.
Yep.
And we will be expecting at the March meeting, the list of, election judges so far. And, the I voted sticker thing is on February 24th at 5 o'clock here.
Yes.
All right, I just wanted to confirm all of those items. Guest remarks, we have 2 guests, so does
Actually,
anyone have
can
any
I-
comments?
Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
I'm
Did
sorry.
I miss the?
Oh, I thought everybody was finished before I jumped in.
I just wanted to, I mean, I had brought up last time about asking about the election of judges plan. So, or whatever you call it. And you talked about it in your report today and the numbers. Because I would like to see what we can do or what I can do, maybe others already, do, but, to help bolster the, cohort of election judges. So understanding what the plan is and then understanding, what it is that we can do to help recruit, or I can help recruit. I'd like to get on top of that because it sounds like it's coming right up.
And that's on the website too, right?
It is. Yeah, the new application is on the website. They click on it. There's actually a barcode. They wanna.
Well, and
what do
it
you call
talks about
QR.
qualifications or,
Yeah, we have that on there as
yeah,
well.
so,
Oh, okay. So it's all on the website?
Yeah, there's a button that says become an election judge and you click on that, it shows, the qualifications and job
requirements
descriptions
and-
Yeah, which job you wanna
and there's
apply
the
for.
application and the QR code if they scan it with their phone and all that stuff. And it's got a picture from early voting of 2014 or something, so.
And the other thing I like to do is the state board will send out Facebook posts. And if we all just
share 'em.
share those and put those out there, that helps as well.
And does the county still encourage county employees to? No,
They never have.
oh, well. They were supposed to.
Well, I think we talked about that, right? Maybe
Yeah,
encouraging them to offer that as a paid day.
well, state law requires it now.
Oh,
County employees to get administrative leave if they work as election.
But they don't want to encourage it
They
for that reason.
breaking the.
Okay, anybody else? Kathy?
Just a few things. Well, as someone who, experienced open primaries in North Carolina, I can tell you, I really don't care for that.
Oh,
As a provisional judge last time, I really would not appreciate having an increase in provisional judges. So what happened was, during the primaries, unaffiliated voters would come in, state they wanted to vote about a particular part, and they just voted regular. So I don't know what this is about, having to vote provisional, but
That's
No
what
more,
happened
please.
in North Carolina.
in North Carolina, yes. In North Carolina as well, if you were parked in the handicap, we walked out with the voting form, which was nice, that we had to get out of the car, but that's North Carolina. I have a question about there in the numbers for your vacancy report on the judges.
Yeah.
Does that include the Dropbox people or not?
that does not. That's a totally different.
That's a
group.
totally different, because I'm just finding some, people saying to me, well, you have to be a notary to do that. And I was like, where did that come from? Because I'm reading the description and and experiencing this as well, coming to the safety kind of concerns that people are having, about being an election judge. And I
Right.
think it is a very real thing. It's good to nip it in the bud, and I've been telling different groups of people that you guys are willing to come and talk about, the whole election process and this and that. I also am aware that apparently the commissioners just have approved $3,658.80 to the election board to increase election security. So I don't know what you're using that for.
Uh-huh.
I hope something good.
Well, you know something that I don't.
They approved this. It was state homeland security grants
Right.
that were awarded to, I guess, all the different counties.
And what's the amount?
$3,658.80
And 80 cents.
to be
Okay.
allocated to the election board for election security.
I've been waiting for EMS to tell me what the
Okay.
amount was. So
So
thank you for
I
that.
think it's just important for, I mean, especially you said you're putting together an emergency management team, and
Mhm.
I think that will be good to be able to say to people, you know, we're gonna be taken care of, right?
Yeah.
It's always been a good place to go here in Washington County, and I hope
Oh,
it
yeah.
stays that way. But I will say that if you were heard by, particular state senator that, hey, we might not even have an election if you're all messing around with, you know, changing things around. And that was heard at a meeting, and that upsets people, that kind of talk. So it is out there. I think it's important to, nip misinformation and disinformation in the bud. Because I heard a quote that was, truth has not gone away, trust has, and just restoring, you know, trust is important. So I'm trying to do my part and telling people to please be an election judge.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to bring that up, and I think that is all I have. There was a lot here today. My head hurts.
I just did.
There was a lot.
And just one last thing, I don't know, but AI is always trying to summarize things my little emails. So maybe they can do your minutes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, no.
No. Do you want AI to do it? No, I do not.
It might change motions.
yeah.
All right, so scheduling of next meeting.
I had March 10th.
Yep,
That's
That
what I
sounds
have
right.
too.
Makes sense.
there's no major conflict or anything.
No snow.
Yeah, we
After
shouldn't
my
have
jury
snow by
duty.
then. I'm on
Some of
jury
our-
duty.
Some of our largest
2 weeks.
snowstorms have
The first
been
week of
the end
March?
of
No,
March.
the end of,
Mine's the first week of March. Dang, we can get on the jury together.
okay,
I'm not sure
and
anybody's what
no
to do.
future
Oh, yeah.
events.
Other than the 24th, I forgot to put that in there, but yeah, for the iVote sticker.
No, I don't think I'll get selected for any
Fine.
jury.
I will call for,
Yes, March 23.
seeing no further business, I will call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second on the floor to adjourn. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we'll go to a vote. All those in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
456.
456.
So what is your field trip recommendation?
I'll have to put the floor up there 'cause
That's